Tonight on Country Squire Radio, we're talking about some tobaccos
from Fribourg and Treyer. Hey, how's that for a name we can't pronounce?
Yeah, tongue twister. Is that what you're going for?
That's exactly right.
Plus, we got a pipe question of the week all about how to get the most smoke from your smoke. Also, we got quick fire questions, listener feedback, and more happening right now on Country Squire Radio. Welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Beau.
And I'm John David.
JD.
Hey, Beau. Good evening, dude.
Hey, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Man. It's just rock and roll time around here, dude. Yeah, it's been insane. Just for some reason, it's Father's Day, so that you got people buying things for gifts and whatnot. But it has been kind of busy this time of year for a June, and so we're thankful for that. But in the South, our listeners, longtime listeners, are regularly familiar with how we complain about the weather where we are, and so especially during the heat in the summer, and so it's surprising that so many pipe smokers are out and about and have found us and are chugging on their pipes even in the heat in the afternoon.
Man,
so, yeah, but it's great.
And the weather's crazy. I mean, the reality is everywhere you are, people complain about the weather. Like, oh, you don't like the weather here in Georgia, just stick around. You don't like the weather here in British Columbia, stick around. Yeah, it's just,
everyone's got their thing, right?
Everybody's got their thing. Actually, yesterday I flew back last week. I spent a couple days in New York. We did a live podcast for another show, and yesterday morning.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
how'd that go?
It went really well. But yesterday morning, I went to like my favorite place to get breakfast in New York, Russ and Daughters. And,
I was about to say bed.
No. This is like a kosher deli, right? With like lox and bagels and everything. It's amazing. But I was walking in like the Lower East Side, and I knew I was going to be flying back, and it was so incredibly hot. Like it was just burning up. And I was like, well, I can't complain about this.
Even in New York.
I'm going to Mississippi in less than a few hours. Like, this is my break from the heat.
That's just your primer, man. Yeah, you're just getting warmed up, literally. Yeah.
Exactly, man. But now, it's interesting, though, with it being Father's Day, and of course, with some great sales going on here at the Country Squire, right?
That's right. So, of course, this time of year, we try to do it up for Daddy, but honestly, this is really just an excuse for most of us to go buy another pipe or blow it on something to enhance our cellar. Let's just be honest about it. So, but here at the Country Squire, we've got all our pipes are 15% off. And then our tobaccos and cigars are 10% off. And so, if you go to our website, if you're listening and are out of Jackson somewhere and want to order, all the pipes on our website are automatically 15% off. If you want the 10% off tobaccos and cigars, you'll have to enter the coupon DAD 2018.
DAD 2018.
Yeah, all one word. So. But anyway, that's going on through Father's Day, which is in a couple weeks now.
Man,
so,
I'm kind of curious about this. Like for Father's Day, do you find more people, because like you say, I mean, we use every excuse as an excuse to like buy ourselves our own gifts.
It's like Christmas time. I'm buy presents for other people. Let's be honest, you're spending so much money, you're just like, I might as well slip something for me in there.
You're preemptively spending the Christmas cash on yourself, essentially. But like for Father's Day, do people typically come in more for the tobacco or for the pipes?
I think it tends to be for the pipes. Yeah. It's one of those things.
It's so iconic.
Well, and if you want to buy a gift for someone, I mean, tobacco is one thing if it's a stocking stuffer or a small present, but if you're trying to make a statement piece, a statement gift, you're thinking, I mean, think about it. Would you rather, get a tin of tobacco or a shiny new pipe? A lot of times though, if the pipe related gift is not the main gift, then they'll go with the tobacco or a couple of tins or maybe a half pound of one of our blends or something like that. But anyway, I got a lot of folks that do that. Also, this time of year, I love it because these wives will come in and they'll buy pipes for their husband as like a kind of a cute, encouraging way to quit them to get them to quit smoking cigarettes. Right. And so, we've got these wives will come in and be like, well, I think it'll be cute and he'll like it. I'm really hoping he'll give up the Camels. So, which is great, so we hope so too.
Gosh, we need to like put together like some sort of series on like how to kick the camel goodbye. I mean, I realize that we've talked about the subject before about, separating the stigma and everything. And we want to be respectful that, in the industry, there's a lot of,
sure. We get it.
There's different polls for different people. But the reality is that like, we here at Country Squire Radio would far rather you be smoking a pipe than
for a variety of reasons.
Yeah. For a variety of reasons. And so like, maybe we could like offer some sort of crash course or like psychological
Reconditioning.
Yeah, like mentally calibrating you or something of that nature in preparation for what you're about to enter into and how to leave the past behind. Kill it if you have to. All right, man. We've got a show tonight.
We do have a show tonight.
Talking about some tobaccos that
you can't pronounce.
Well, but
and most of the time I can't either.
My goal, honestly, this episode, and longtime listeners and even relatively short-time listeners know, here on Country Squire Radio, we are known for three things. The first is pipe tobacco and pipes and the talking of.
Gosh, I hope so.
One would assume, if nothing else, that gets you in the door.
Right.
The other thing is shenanigans, because let's be honest.
Right.
And then finally, and most importantly, we butcher names here. That is what we do on practically a weekly basis. Typically, it's the names of those that have gone to patreon.com/Country Squire Radio to support this show.
It's kind of a place of honor.
It is a place of honor.
We are truly endeared to you if we cannot say your name.
Exactly.
Or at least pretend like it.
Exactly. But never before has there been, and I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's ever been a tobacco in which I have personally butchered the name of, but that all changes tonight. Because tonight we are talking about John David, what are we talking about?
Fribourg and Treyer.
All right, first of all, Swedish? I'm assuming Swedish.
German, as far as I can tell.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, all right. Hang on. I gotta get my German accent. It's
like, who are we gonna offend tonight?
I ain't going to offend. I get Indiana Jones. I'll work on it.
No, it's that whole deal about it sounds really angry, even if you're saying something really polite and kind.
All right. So before we jump into the debate, have I ever told you my German story about?
No, but we have to hear it.
All right. So here's the deal. I was so a long time ago, back before I was a father, actually the last Father's Day before I actually became a father, my wife and I went on a trip to Italy, and we flew Lufthansa. Which is a German airline.
Yeah.
Wonderful, by the way, airline. And if Lufthansa wants to sponsor this show, call me. We had a wonderful time. But in going through to get to Italy, we had to go through Germany, had to go through customs. And the officer that was kind of letting us in and out of the country was obviously a German officer. And so he gets in there, and it's just me and my wife. And we're like right at, it's just us and him. He's looking at our papers. He's like, let me see our papers. We give him the papers and everything.
Right.
He's like, no, this is no good. No, you cannot. You cannot. Like he was like shutting us down. Like, and I can't do
You're getting stonewalled.
I couldn't do a very good German accent, but he was telling us about how our papers weren't right, and I'm starting to get nervous. And I was like, "What's wrong? What's going on?" He goes, "She never signed." And like on her passport. So this dude was trying to like joke with us,
right?
But he's a German officer telling us we don't have our papers,
right?
And I'm like, dude, you realize you guys were the Nazis, right?
Like, I mean, all right, let's be easy
not
now,
profile or anything.
Oh yeah.
Like,
no, yeah. I mean, No, I mean, I understand. You kind of you're in a foreign country, and you kind of get that feeling. But that Germany's different now. But I mean, yeah, there's an intimidation factor.
There's a huge
I think
intimidation factor
that's there. Yeah,
no, like, you don't have your papers. Like, oh man, it freaked us out.
What are your papers? Yeah,
profiling is wrong, and I'm sure he's a very nice man.
And no, absolutely.
So let's talk about Häagen-Dazs. Hagenfragen.
How about Fribourg and Treyer?
Fribourg.
Yeah. Oh man, it's such a great tobacco and such an interesting history. This is a tobacco course that has been around for or a brand anyway that's been around for 300 years, which is really amazing. We think about the tobaccos that we can point to in our industry and in our community that have been around that long. I mean, there's not many, right? We think about the Sam Gaywiths out there, and just limited Gaywith and Hogarth. I mean, just limited amounts of blenders that have been around that long. But Fribourg and Treyer, this is a tobacco brand, of course, that has been around for so long. So opened in 1720. In the Haymarket district in London. That's eventually where their shop kind of moved to. They had multiple locations at one point or another, but it is actually Treyer, the Fribourg half of it, and their family was joined by the Treyer family, immigrated from Germany, and of course the guy that kind of spearheaded the initial push into premium tobacco, a gentleman named Gottlieb Fribourg, which Gottlieb,
Gottlieb,
right? That's right. And so just a handsome handsome name there, and they really took off as kind of a purveyor of not just pipe tobacco or pipes, but honestly, their main fame actually came from the snuff market, and so real premium British handmade snuff, and this is snuff that obviously I'll show you here shortly, but we think about old fashioned grandma snuff, right? Like the powdered tobacco, where you take the stems and tears from the leaves of your favorite tobaccos, the stuff that can't be put into premium pipe tobacco. They send that to people like Fribourg and Treyer. They grind it up and put all kinds of seasonings in there to make it interesting. And then you have this powdered tobacco that you can just gently place in your nostril or under your gum, and then you've got this kind of snuff product.
Now is that the same or related to like dip, that sort of thing?
Well, it's similar in some ways, I guess. Dip is more like granulated. You think about snuff, and it's a
but
it's
snuff have like the spitting.
It's a powder. It doesn't. No,
okay.
it doesn't. It's actually something that just kind of naturally stays in your system. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and show you. This is Fribourg and Treyer snuff. Now, we don't sell this at the Country Squire. We sell some other snuff brands, but Fribourg and Treyer, I actually got this at the Briar Shop in Houston, Texas, from my friend Ross, who manages that shop down there. Great shop if you're ever in Houston. We've talked about it before. We all go see them. This is Fribourg and Treyer, established 1720 in Haymarket, London. Of course, it looks really official. It's got all the script stuff on there, but this is one of their better selling snuffs, and it's just a really simple powdered tobacco. I'm gonna let you take a look and smell.
I mean, wow. I mean, like fine powder.
Yeah.
If you want to,
it's like dust. I mean, it really is like dust.
For somebody's not familiar, I mean, like honestly, it looks like you're looking into a container of cinnamon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it looks like something that came out of your spice cabinet. Sure.
And that would make some sense. And the interesting thing is the smell. I don't know if this is just this particular tin, but there's almost like a soap, like bathroom type of smell to it. You know what I mean?
Well, they flavor it with all kinds of things,
like floral, lavender.
This particular one is Macuba, and I'm not exactly sure what goes into it, to be honest. But they're using all kinds of, different flavorings, just like you might find in pipe tobacco to flavor some of this stuff.
Yeah, let me clarify. When I say bathroom, I don't mean like urinal. What I mean like is specifically what I mean is like
delicious.
This like luxurious kind of spa type of bath type situation here. Not point being, it's not at all what I would imagine it to smell like.
Right. Yeah, you think of tobacco, particularly something like this that you put in your nostril or under your gum, as being like, I guess, more of a savory feel almost, but this is more there's a floral note here, and as well as kind of a sweet pleasant note. It kind of in some ways reminds you of those Lakeland tobaccos, which are made from the folks like Gaywith and Hogarth that use kind of that rosewater essence. Some of those things you'll find those occasionally in snuffs, but not all the time. Anyway, really interesting stuff. So Fribourg and Treyer, of course, was known for literally over a century for making some of the finest snuff in Great Britain. Matter of fact, they had a royal warrant, which is basically a royal warrant is basically a code for you're the tobacco producer or provider for royalty, and so someone comes to you and they're like, I'm giving you permission to be my supplier of X and X goods or whatever. And the royal warrant for Fribourg and Treyer was for snuff and also pipe tobacco for kings of England and kings of Hanover and Belgium, of course, kind of coming from that more continental roots there, which is kind of interesting. Outstanding pipe tobacco blends, super premium quality. Their iconic store there in the Haymarket district had these beautiful bay windows, and so you'd walk by and see them blending, pipe tobacco and producing these high end goods. After 300 years, it was one of those stores that just literally being the private tobacconist for kings and dukes, even on this. On this tin of tobacco, the snuff that they've got here, tobacconists and purveyors of foreign snuff to their late majesties, the kings of Hanover and Belgium, and their late royal highnesses, the dukes of Sussex, Cambridge, and the Duchess of Kent. And so it's like you've got now. I want to know what the Duchess of Kent smoked. That's
what interesting.
Yeah. But so you've got just this incredible history, and Eventually they were bought in the late 70s by Imperial Tobacco, and then the shop itself actually, sadly enough, closed in 1981. But you can still go by and see the bay windows there of the original store, and just a really interesting history there. There at their at that location.
Were they given like a seal or like some sort of paperwork because
my guess is they were.
Okay,
Yeah, no, I'm sure, I'm
me,
positive they were.
This almost
Yeah.
feels like the 1700s version of like the famous person who comes to the shop and then you get your picture taken with them and put them up on the wall. Like in the 1700s,
No, that's right.
You had the royals. Those were your celebrities. And
Yeah.
so like to have,
in some sense, it still is. Yeah.
No, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. With the to do the most latest in the royal wedding saga. Yeah, no, for real. But like, it just kind of feels like that a little bit. Like you're like, oh,
Right.
well, shops here,
Right. Well, what's cool, and we've seen this so many times with different brands of tobacco, and just as it switches over, different places close, and then folks will buy the recipes out, and this and this, and so Fribourg and Treyer, they closed, of course, 1981. But they have these products that people just love, right? For instance, we talked to our friend over at Dunhill the other week about how Dunhill, the pipe company, actually got out of making tobacco years ago, but they, that those brands were the Dunhill brands were still important enough and still viable enough to where someone picked up those brands and continued to produce those blends under the same name, just different manufacturing companies to do that. And so the same thing happened with the Fribourg and Treyer the tobaccos. And so eventually, they became, one of those that was sought after, to be blended by basically a third party or a new blender. And so that's the Fribourg and Treyer that we have today. Other folks that are similar to this are folks like Dunhill or the James Fox blends. We've talked about Fox Tobacconist and in London, and just that place's incredible history, and you've still got those blends that they're pumping out, like the Squires and the Bankers, and those blends are still really popular. They're just not produced by the original tobacconist, and so a German firm, Kohlhaas and Kopp, is the firm that picked this up. And Kohlhaas and Kopp, I love them. They make some of the best tobaccos in the world. They're one of the best manufacturers. Now, who knows how many of these they're actually putting out themselves, but they have all these legacy brands that they have the rights to the blend. And so, it's basically like it's if one firm like owns the recipe to Coke and Dr. Pepper and Sprite. They didn't invent those, but they got the rights to them, right? And so they're still producing them over time. Well, Kohlhaas and Kopp, they're this German firm, and I encourage you to go to their website. Not a lick of it's in English, but you can kind of piece through and see some of the really marquee brands that they've got there. Others are Solani tobaccos, which are fantastic. Of course, we talk about the Gold Flake, the H. Burley Flake, the Silver Flake, the Rainer tobaccos, which I love that 71. It's just a really good white burley with Perique. Real expensive tobacco, but super fine. So it's the same firm actually that does the Rattray's tobaccos, some of the most popular tobaccos in the world. We talk about Howl of the Wind and Red Rappery and some of those guys.
Yeah, did we do a focus on that brand, or maybe we've just done some of those for tobacco?
We've talked about them for tobacco talks,
that
I
sounds
think,
right.
but just excellent tobaccos. And then others like Ashton and Sillums. You got Sillums tobacco, of course, real premium stuff. So they're known for more sophisticated tobaccos, just incredibly good blends that are tried are mimicked often. These are the blends that people are like, man, I want to make a blend like that. So anyway, we still have the Fribourg and Treyer tobaccos through Kohlhaas and Kopp, and a few that I'll just kind of parade here in front of you quickly. Just so you have kind of an idea what we've got here. I'm smoking the Cut Virginia Plug tonight. Actually, I don't have this tin in front of me. It's sitting on the other side of the shop because I loaded my pipe with it earlier today. But
it smells delicious.
The Cut Virginia Plug, it's just an excellent tobacco. It kind of reminds me in some ways of some of my favorite tobaccos that we talk about a lot on Country Squire Radio, or like Golden Sliced, the Vow and 14. This is somewhere around the Vow and 14 and like the Mac Baron Pure Virginia. It's got this kind of mellow, crisp. There's just a little citrus there. It's not super
Mm.
sharp, but just a little bit of that. Nice grassy flavors, but they're not overwhelmed by the hay that sometimes are there in Virginias. And so
That's good. Yeah.
really good. That's the Cut Virginia plug. The Cut Blended plug is a really similar blend. It's more mellow. It's not as much sweetness, but there's just a little richer flavor there. I'll let you look. This is, their artwork is incredibly simple. It's just a very simple thing on the front of all their tobaccos. You kind of have this shop front. It's their bay windows of their iconic shop there in London, and it just says Fribourg and Treyer, 34 Haymarket, London. And that's really all you get. There's not a whole lot else to say on it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you got it on a kind of a baseline color. I would imagine each color represents a different blend.
It does, and there are a couple that are similar, but one thing that we've seen recently, Freiburg and Treyer, all the blends that are made by Kohlhaas and Kopp, and then all the other blends out there too. Frankly, everyone is trying to catch up right now to change their labels on the outside of the tins because of the new warning labels that are going to be required by the FDA.
Was this? But this
and
was
so
done
that's a
beforehand?
part of it. So it looked similar to this.
Right.
It looked similar to this just a few months ago, but they've had to kind of
larger, right?
But this is a larger iteration. Yeah,
Really? Because I was
it
just
is,
thinking
yeah.
about how much
It is.
smaller the everything looked.
Well,
clearly to make room for the bottom half to be covered up.
And then all these tins too, these cut Virginias and the flakes that you see, these were all in square tins that overnight they had to figure out, oh, what do we do? So they had to put them in a round tin in order to make room for the giant warning label that's going to go.
It is interesting.
This was actually a square tin, just 6 months ago,
and so it was recut. So
so they had to redo the label for a round tin. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. Pretty fascinating. Yeah.
Huh.
So it's just the market's changing, and these tobacco producers, they're scrambling to keep up with the new government requirements, just like everybody else.
And was Friggebourgen
Friggebourgen, right?
Wait, so who was tinning this? Like, were they tinning their own?
Well, as far as I'm aware, they were actually producing it there in their shop. Yeah.
Okay, because I mean,
and I don't know if it was tinned at that point. Actually, it may have just been a tobacco that was only available at their store. I'm not positive.
Who tinned this?
So this was done by the Kohlhaas and Kopp company.
Okay, all right.
That does all those other fantastic tobaccos in Germany.
Well, all right. So when we went to go visit STG and we kind of got a chance to see like their whole tinning process and everything, it is like it's fascinating just how you think the slightest change, not to mention like the larger changes, like the slightest change, how that goes into the entire kind of I mean, almost like the biological organism that is the manufacturing line. You know what I mean?
So some of these manufacturing processes are so ancient, right? That it's when you introduce a small change like this, it's like, oh well, crap, what do we do?
Well, and
we've been doing it this way since 1720.
And that's the thing, like it is amazing though that because of the process. I mean, if you think about like what a tin is, like what a tobacco tin is, I mean, this is not high tech. You know what I mean? Like
it's a small metal can that's been vacuum sealed.
I mean, there's there's been some very much kind of it ain't broke so don't fix it type of mindset with how it seals everything in. But like the order to produce these things and at the scale, so STG obviously they have an amazing facility there.
Yeah,
but we saw like not only like brand new equipment in use, but also equipment that had been there for forever still in use because the process was so similar.
Right.
But when these little changes come along, I remember talking with somebody on site actually about having to do like a slight change. Like it was about the amount of tobacco allowed in certain tins. Do you remember this?
I don't actually, but I know they were using equipment that was, older than the shop is. I mean,
right.
In some cases.
Well, so that was the situation. Like, so it was some regulation in a different country. It wasn't this one, but they had to like in America, it could be a certain amount. And in this other country, it had to be a different amount, but they had to use the same tinning process for everything. And so in order to change it, like the equipment would have to be custom built because you can't just like buy, you know,
No,
these like easy
exactly.
things
Right.
just because it's so
These widgets. Yeah. I mean, you have
it's
to,
an ancient
someone
process.
makes this kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
absolutely.
No, that's it.
Sorry,
And
not to get into manufacturing.
no, it's
but, like,
true. And
that's
that's how
interesting.
it works in that whole industry, or in any industry, manufacturing environment. But, yeah, so it just a lot of great blends. They're particularly known, and have been known, over the centuries for using incredible quality leaf. And nowadays, the tins that are available, the ones that are super popular and really hard to get, are the ones that feature Virginias. And so the cut Virginia plug that I'm smoking now, the cut blended plug that we've got here that I mentioned is a little richer. It's more red leaf in there, matured leaf. And then we've got the golden mixture, which is a Virginia ribbon, which is a kind of a bright, cheery, natural flavor Virginia ribbon, just real clean. And super good tobacco. So they've got others like the Blackjack, which is also Virginia. Just lots of different ones. So anyway, Fribourg and Treyer, they just several great tobaccos. They're really kind of hard to find right now because they don't produce a lot of them there in Germany, at the Kohlhaas and Kopp plant. But they're excellent blends, and for particularly non-aromatic smokers and lovers of Virginia natural sweetness leaf. It's something you need to try to put on your hit list and find when you get a chance.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
All right,
it's great stuff.
Fribourg and Treyer.
Yes. Yeah,
Fribourg.
you did
I
great.
did it.
Yeah, no,
I
you
did
did
it.
good. Now you can revert,
Yeah, no,
Right.
no, it's good. It's good because we are the Fribourg. Resistance is Treyer. I got it.
No, that's right.
That was good.
Yeah.
That makes some sense.
That's I'm sure there was an episode on the Next Generation about that. Yeah.
there should have been. Data was smoking a pipe at one point during the Next Generation. That did happen. Not that I'm not a Trek guy.
No, he was it was one of those where he was doing the Sherlock Holmes thing,
Holmes.
I think.
That's right. Although,
Yeah.
did he ever actually smoke it?
No, I think so.
Can you
Yeah,
smoke a pipe on a
I think
spaceship
so.
with like
Well,
the airlock controlled?
you can do anything on the Enterprise.
I know, yeah, that's right. When you got holograms that can be created out of anything, that is absolutely true. Well, that is fascinating, man. So you mentioned the branding. Of course, we talked about how it's kind of the wash on a different kind of baseline color. There is actually something surprisingly modern about it, honestly, with just kind of being the one single color.
You think about a lot of simplicity nowadays and modern design. Of course, I'm no design connoisseur. We've got friends that are listeners of Country Squire Radio that are graphic designers and industrial designers, and who knows what. But you do think of things being very simplistic, real clean. I don't know. It kind of goes with that, right?
It really does.
It's just real simple.
It reminds you what's old is new again, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of comes back around. So really fascinating stuff. So yeah, so let us know what your thoughts are on Fribourg and Treyer. And hey, if you are lucky enough to get your hands on some of this stuff and smoke it, you don't want to just smoke it. You want to make sure that you're getting the best quality smoke out of it.
No, that's right.
I mean,
and smoking it out of a pipe that is going to let you appreciate the natural flavors and the delicate nuanced flavors of the tobacco.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is German. Yeah. No. Deutschland Hagen-Dazsen Fräulein.
Did you just say something about like
Ice cream?
nannies and ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like our good friends at Missouri Beer Shop.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. Well, tonight one of our most outstanding tasting pipes is of course sponsoring tonight's show, and
that's right, man.
That of course is the Missouri Meerschaum Shortstop. I love this pipe. It is a excellent tasting pipe, and it is it's basically the clay pipe that Missouri Meerschaum makes. It's one of those that it's a small bowl. It's just big enough to fit your tamper inside of, but it is a perfect sampling size. And so you've got basically a quarter or a third of a normal size medium bowl there that's available to you. Like I said, just wide enough to get your tamper in, just a little bigger than that. And so it is a roomy enough bowl for you to get the real pipe experience, but certainly not something that you're going to spend more than 10 minutes smoking, 15 minutes at the max, and just gives you a good understanding of the tobacco itself. Really light, nice shank that's on this. They use the light colored wood, of course, with the standard black mouthpiece, and it's just a little longer than the Missouri Meerschaum Mini, so it just cools that smoke off a little bit more. But really great pipe. It's really inexpensive, retails for about $5, and man, a good seller here at the Country Squire, particularly if someone comes in and wants to sample a new tobacco and they're like, oh, I left my pipe at home. Let me try the shortstop. Yeah.
Well, no matter what you're smoking, if you got yourself a shortstop, be sure to smoke it this week. Take a picture when you do it. Tweet it out to us. It's a good way to let the good folks at Missouri Meerschaum know you appreciate them for sponsoring this show.
Do you know people make fun of you for how you say Meerschaum?
That's what they make fun of me for? That's the one?
No, I mean, right. But, it's funny. It's like I've heard people say, when Beau says like Meerschaum?
Yeah.
Meerschaum?
Yeah.
Meerschaum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
It's just that. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's a thing. It's some people say Meerschaum, right? So the emphasis is more on the front end.
It's
right?
all about the delivery. Missouri Meerschaum. If I do like Missouri Meerschaum,
right?
Like that's gonna throw off the flow. You gotta.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good. I'd be interested to know, do our listeners, are they Meerschaum people or Meerschaum people?
Well, I mean, like if I'm just in conversation, I'd probably say Meerschaum. But like if for it's
the theatrics.
It's
of
the
it,
pageantry of it. Yeah, you gotta stretch it out.
I will go with that.
This is like, welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Beau. JD. Like I don't say JD in normal conversation typically.
You probably have before. I don't know.
That is true. That is true. All right, man. Pipe question of the week coming into us from DJ. I'm assuming this is Bizarro Land, John David.
It may be.
DJ says, what would be a tobacco that could match a cigar's smoke content? And he says, I mean, literally the amount of smoke per puff. As I am smoking more pipes, I find the thing I am missing the most is the aesthetic of a truly large plumes of smoke that the cigar affords. Thank you. Again, this is DJ, not JD. But I'm just, like I said, Bizarro JD.
Yeah, no, a great question. Gosh, it's one of those things that a lot of cigar smokers, they do crave. I was talking to a cigar smoker the other day, and he was like, I tried the pipe. I smoke too fast for a pipe, and I'm too addicted to the plumes of smoke to enjoy a pipe, and there's something about that, right? When you're smoking a cigar, you get those big clouds of smoke that rush in, and it's easy to produce them, and also when you do produce them, it doesn't burn your tongue as much. With a pipe, the smoke tends to be more delicate. You can get a cloudy smoke, but typically it means you're going to have to puff it faster and harder, which means it's going to get real hot and burn your tongue. Whereas on cigars, you don't see that typically. The most smoke production we get tends to be from burley. Any kind of burley-based tobacco, really that soft kind of air-cured burley. I mean, it just produces a lot of smoke. And so, anything with a heavy burley content, I might point you to something like. It's got a little perique in it too. What's the name of that? Bayou Morning might be a good call. We have one here at the shop called Parsons Blend. It's a aromatic, of course, that we've sold for a long time.
Right. You have often
high burley content. Another one, Black and Tan, that we sell here. Something with that soft burley, though, it just kind of produces these clouds of smoke that tend to billow from your mouth. Again, it's not equivalent to a cigar. But for a pipe, it's probably as close as you'll get.
Yeah,
so,
Parsons Blend in particular, like I remember, like you will often kind of promote the plumes of smoke that you can get out of it.
Well, it's a satisfying thing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's one of those things that it's not a flavor thing necessarily, but it kind of that lingering cloud in your mouth. It can be the art of learning and practicing how to puff those rings and all that stuff. Someday I'm going to get to the Gandalf where I can do the whole ship, right? Yeah, but we're not quite there yet. But to make if you were going to do it, you would need a burley because it would require that much smoke.
Interesting. So I think it's safe to say that the pipe weed of the Shire has lots of burley.
Probably a lot of burley.
Well, great question, DJ. And hey, if you've got a pipe question of the week, send it in to us. Show at Country Squire Radio. Again, that's show at countrysquireradio.com. I guess I didn't say .com the first time. That's okay.
.com.
It's implied. It's implied. Quick fire question. Ow! See, I don't normally say quick fire questions like that if I'm just, quick fire question, like Jones.
With your Meerschaum.
I'm just saying. Quickfire questions, of course, brought to us by the Tin Society.
Yes.
More on them in just a moment. All right, now we actually have a good number of quickfire questions sent in from Caleb Krause, and we're going to get to a few of those this one. But first, I have to throw this one in at the top. This was actually proposed on Facebook, in our Facebook group for the Country Squire Radio Pipe Club.
Yeah,
by Brady, Pipe Club member Brady. Who asked?
Brady's really talented, by the way. Incredible musician.
Not surprising at all. All right, so here's the thing: burger emoji.
Okay,
you've seen this, the burger.
Oh
emoji.
yeah. There was a difference between like the Google one and the Apple one.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right. So in short, if you've not seen this, I think this has been kind of observed by many people, but the Apple cheeseburger or burger emoji, the cheese is on top of the patty
of the meat.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas the Google has it on the bottom.
Right.
So are you an Apple burger emoji or a Google burger emoji?
All right. This has nothing to do with my stance on Apple versus Google.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But I'm a Apple burger emoji. The cheese belongs on top of the meat. It doesn't belong on the bottom. And the warmth, it's simple science, really. It's physics. The warmth of the meat melts the cheese, and it melts into and around the patty.
Yeah.
And that is just that is the natural order of things.
As much as it absolutely pains me as a Android fan, someone who has been rocking the Galaxy since like the first iteration of the Galaxy, someone who is very pro Android and to some extent anti Apple. I am as much Apple as I have to be, and these days I have to be to some extent. But for the most part, it's all about that Android.
Yeah.
Except for the burger.
Except for the burger.
You're right. There is something just honestly disturbing about the idea of the cheese being underneath.
Yeah, it's got to go on top of the patty. Yeah.
I try not to judge, but I judge that. I really do. That's wrong. That is wrong. But hey, I love to hear some thoughts on that. So all right, so we were both for going Apple emoji on that one.
Yep.
All right, so the rest of these are from Caleb Krause. He says this is the mental health counseling edition.
Okay.
All right. Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
All right. I'm kind of either an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert.
You're on the line, but I think you're an extrovert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm an extroverted introvert.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. Talking or silent listening?
Silent listening?
Like, would you rather be talking or like being silent and just listening?
That one. Yeah.
Being silent listening?
Yeah.
You're in the right profession.
Yeah. I really am.
I would definitely rather be talking, although I'm trying to be better at being a better listener.
Well, that's good. Both are required for conversation. We just have to practice practice on the ones that not our strength.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A comfortable love seat or big leather chair. Now, one presumes this is like while you're in a counseling session.
I think comfortable love seat.
Is that the one where you just like sit back? Like
a love seat is like it's like a 2-seater.
Okay.
It's not a full couch. You think of a couch being like a 3-seater. This is a 2-seater.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so, but would you go for the classic lay your head down on the side, put your legs up and everything, and
like Freudian style where you look
or like every single sitcom ever?
Yeah. No, I know, right? Yeah. No, I think when I've been to counseling before, I've talked about this with friends. I typically I'm not looking at the ceiling necessarily. I'm just kind of staring straight forward or whatever. But I don't know. There's something about a love seat. You can get spread out a little more. Put your keys on the other side, unload your pockets, and got a place to put your coffee and kind of make yourself comfortable.
You put your coffee on the love seat.
Well, I mean, if it's sturdy.
All right. Well, hey,
yeah,
you got stuff on your mind. That's
yeah,
fine.
That's right. Yeah.
I think between the two, I'm gonna go big leather chair. I like the leather chair. And then finally, and I love this, coping skills: guacamole or queso.
Queso every time. 10 times out of 10. I love guacamole. I love it. But if you're coping, I mean, let's talk about like this is the therapy edition, mental health counseling edition of this. If I want to self-medicate, it's going to involve cheese.
Yeah, cheese is to men what ice cream is to women in this regard, right?
Well, it will probably also involve ice cream.
Oh, well, there you go.
To be honest with you, but it will involve queso. I love queso. Doggone it,
man! All right,
it's so good.
Like I've already at the jump kind of made all of our German contingent turn off the podcast already.
Yeah, no, they're terrified.
This is definitely going to knock out like at least 70% of the audience. queso is disgusting.
What?
I can't. I just.
What the heck is wrong with you?
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if I mix it a little bit into some salsa, that's okay, or something of that nature.
What is it about? Is it the texture? Is it the idea of just eating melted cheese?
The melted cheese aspect of it. Like, there was a time that I'm like, was all about the queso and everything. But like,
I'm just gonna have to continue smoking my pipe. This is a good. This is where my pipe really does come in as the adult male pacifier, because I'm just gonna put it in my mouth and shut up.
This is where friendships get challenged
at this point. Yeah,
I really can't do it. I mean, like, you mix some sausage in. Like, if you start mixing some sausage in, you start mixing some tomatoes in. Like, oh, okay. But I mean, I'm not there for the cheese. The cheese is just there to complement everything else. On the other side, guacamole is amazing, especially when done right. Like, done really right.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I love guacamole.
Plus, it's like, guacamole is heavy. If you're looking for like that kind of comfort food, I mean, like, guacamole is a good comfort food.
This is me silent listening.
Okay, case
right.
All right, and so to the two people that are still listening to the podcast, you and your mom, thank y'all.
That's exactly right. Yep. My wife and my mom.
Right. We may have lost the Mrs. Coles as well on the case. So
right. I part of my family is German as well, so and everyone loves queso. So yeah, we've basically been disowned.
This is the one that did it.
Right.
Dang you, Fribourg. All right. Well, great quick fire questions. Of course, those are brought to us by the Tin Society. Now, the Tin Society is an awesome online service that if you've not checked out before, where you been? You got to check this out. It's called tinsociety.com is the place to go. And here you can get a monthly subscription of various tobaccos delivered to your door, curated samplings, so that you get a chance to taste and test a lot of different tobaccos that you may have not otherwise had the opportunity to do so. It definitely brings kind of the pipe tobacco enthusiast into the modern era, wouldn't you say?
It's great, man. It's the modern box concept for pipe smokers. And, all the tobaccos that we talk about regularly on Country Squire Radio, occasionally including the Fribourg and Treyer, if you're lucky enough to be on that box, you're going to get exposed to just so many wonderful tobaccos that are out there. And so if you did have the chance, we talked about this last week, and then we actually had an unboxing kind of mini 45-second episode. It was longer than that, but where we
under 3 minutes. I tried to keep it under 3
minutes.
Yeah,
we actually opened a box recently. You can look at it. I guess it's on our YouTube channel. But,
that's right.
And see what you get. It's a really professionally done, well packaged. It makes you feel like you're getting something special, and frankly, you are. When you open this, you're getting plenty of tobacco to try, several different kinds. And we're all talking premium tobacco. This is stuff that comes out of anywhere from $15 tins to $30 tins, and it's all over the market. You've got aromatics and non-aromatics, and tobaccos you might not necessarily try, but or buy on your own, but it's something that kind of challenges your palate and pushes you. And occasionally you will really find those favorites. So it's just a great service. You can go to tinsociety.com, use the code Squire when you sign up, and you'll get 20% off your first month's purchase. And it's just a great way to stay kind of fresh in the pipe tobacco market and check out some new stuff.
Absolutely. So again, that's Squire is the code to use when you sign up for 20% off on your first month service at tinsociety.com.
That's right.
All right, man. Listener feedback. We got some great listener feedback in. Let's see. First one up, we got an iTunes review in from Corporate Creep.
I think I worked for that guy one time.
Yeah. I know a few. What did Corporate Creep have to say?
Corporate Creep, man, best pipe smoking road trip partners. I just wanted to thank you fellas for making my 5-hour road trips every other weekend a breeze. I've been smoking a pipe for going on 2 years, and honestly, you have taught me almost everything I know. Sorry, but terribly awkward Instagram selfies of my fellow pipers' inner noses don't quite fill my need for information. And boy, is he onto something. Yeah. Man, that's a whole episode within itself. Like the terrible pipe smoker selfie. We'll go there sometime.
Wow.
But continuing on, I live in an an area of Missouri where there isn't a solid source of pipe tobacco and knowledge within an hour and a half drive, but you boys definitely fill the void. Keep it up. I plan on visiting the shop very soon. Cheers. And that's from Corporate Creep. Dude, yeah, man, thank you so much. We're glad we can be partners with you there on your commute.
Absolutely. Yeah. That
Yep.
the I do feel like most of I could be wrong on this, but I do feel like there's a large amount of like new listeners that come in and they like the introduction to Country Squire Radio is binge listening as part of a road trip, which is always
I think you're right.
fascinating.
Yeah. Well, we think about Netflix being the same way, right? I mean,
Right.
when you're going to introduce yourself to a new show, well, that doesn't mean you watch one. You watch, 8. And before you know it, you finished all 28 seasons of Criminal Minds or whatever.
This is exactly right. Well, and the interesting thing too is that like by the time I could be wrong too, but like by the time we get these like reviews in, generally speaking, they probably haven't gotten caught up to now.
Yeah.
So
No,
like
I think so. Yeah.
a lot of time. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'm kind of curious for those of you, especially the newer listeners that are going through and binge listening. Do you start from the bottom now you're here, or do you actually start at the latest and work your way back? I'm just kind of curious. So let us know what your experience has been. Your miles may vary. Pun totally intended. We also have a just a quick email in from Kevin Pinkerton who says, "Can I replace Caleb?"
Don't we all wish we could?
Well, first of all, no one can ever replace Caleb.
That's true. No, that's
like
true.
he was a unique individual.
Right, he is a unique individual.
Yes,
right.
He
still is an individual.
Right.
Yeah, but he man, he he did such a good job here at the Squire and left such an indelible mark. And of course, man, so many of our wonderful blends that have come out over the past couple of years have been his. He worked really hard on that, and we're very proud of that. Oddly enough, or at least kind of related, one of our Twitter questions tonight is from, let's see, I just had it. Eric Subtilis 87. He says, any updates on how the post McClellan cousin of Green Dragon is coming? And Eric, good to hear from you, brother. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, so actually, we haven't come up with a Green Dragon replacement yet, but Caleb, in his quest to do that, came up with a new blend, which wasn't the same as Green Dragon, but was so good that we wanted it to stand on its own, and that is our new blend, Kingsfoil. And Kingsfoil is now on our shelf. You can order it through our website, and it is a Virginia dark-fired Kentucky blend, and so it's got the full-bodied kind of roasted flavor of that Kentucky leaf. Really tasty, pretty strong, but you'll still have the subtle natural sweetness of the Virginias there in the background. So really great tobacco, and we think you'll enjoy it. We also have another new tobacco too, Peach Melba, which is our new aromatic, and it is brand spanking new.
Wow.
So, yeah.
All right, man. That's exciting stuff.
Yep.
All right. Then we also got one in. Commodore. Now, you remember Commodore from last week?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Brand new Country Squire Radio Club member. What did Commodore have to say?
He said, "Thanks for saying my name correctly, y'all. No, Commodore is not my." He says, "No, Commodore is not my birth name, but it was a nickname that just kind of stuck. I think it first came to be from the beer Commodore Perry IPA by Great Lakes Brewing.
Interesting. Okay.
Rather than the actual dude himself. I actually." am the president of a let's see, I'm actually the president of a mopped gang, pedal start moped
Right.
gang, pedal start mopeds from the 70s, not scooters. There's a difference between a moped and a scooter.
There is a difference.
Yeah, they'll fight you on that. We need to be clear. He said, in the underground moped community, Commodore is what they call me. Anyways, love this episode, and I'm very appreciative for what you guys do to keep the pipe community in the loop. Commodore Perry, the latest club member. Commodore Perry, thank you very much. I would love to for you to continue to wax poetically on the differences between scooters and mopeds. I will never forget being in Scotland, probably, let's see, it was 11 years ago now, and the taxi driver that picked us up at the pub, I can't remember its name. We had just consumed a large amount of Scotch whiskey, and
Like you
this,
do.
and like you do, and this very kind cab driver, he wanted to tell us everything he knew about scooters. and that he was on his way to a scooter rally, and that it was different, and it was a scooter rally, and it was different from a moped. And I just want to say I'm on team moped.
Team moped all the way.
Yeah, I'm on team moped.
I'm not anti-scooter, but there is a difference, and I think that a lot of people miss the difference. It's interesting. Maybe it was Commodore that I saw post this, but I did see somebody recently post a picture of like the pipes they were smoking to go to one of these mopped rallies. And I'm
mopped rallies.
Is that not is just moped rallies?
I think it's moped.
All right. For some reason, I'm dyslexic, so I first read it.
Right.
And I was like, what on earth is this? I had to kind of do a little bit of research before I realized the connection. There's kind of this moped type rally. And so, I'm kind of curious. Is there a lot of overlap there? Like, are there a lot of moped enthusiasts that are also pipe smokers and vice versa? Should this be a pipe culture deep dive at some point?
We may have to find out.
I'm very curious on that. Let us know, Commodore. Has the mystery been taken away now that we know that Commodore was named after a beer?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll just continue to roll with it. We're gonna create our own lore around Commodore Perry.
Yeah,
it'll be good.
I like that. That's good. That's great. All right, but we also got some great live tweets, and I'm getting a lot of flack for my attempt at a German accent. I will stand by the fact that I do not know how to do a German accent.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I just that's just something I definitely do not.
A little more practice, you make up for it with your exquisite British patrician elitist accent.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta have something. You definitely gotta have something. Eric also says request a review of this particular snuff, the White Elephant. Is that something you're familiar with?
Yeah, I'm actually not. I have not had that particular one. It looks it's an Indian snuff, which of course there is a large tradition of creating nasal snuff there in India. I have not had it before. It looks terrifying. So yeah, maybe on a future episode.
Interesting. All right, and so also Kilted Pipe Guy before the show mentioned that he was watching the WWDC 2018 keynote. Did you catch any of that?
What's a WWDC?
Okay, so we talked about Android and Apple before.
Right.
This is WWDC is like Apple's big event where they kind of showcase, we're working on this, and guess what? We made it smaller. And here's one more thing: we changed all the charging ports. Like that's their big.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got it. Right. And this year you can't use your earphones or whatever.
Right. Like, how you really enjoy using your ear jacks? Well, those are gone now.
Yeah, we're gonna mess that up.
No, but it's fine because now you've got Bluetooth. We're gonna pretend like we invented Bluetooth headsets, even though Bluetooth headsets have been around for like a decade before now. But see, ours are different because it makes you look like you're crying from your ears. I hate those things, man. Those earpod things.
Yeah, I'm against them.
They look so ugly.
Yep.
They look just so bad.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I mean, no offense if you got some. I'm just saying that it looks like you're crying.
And you may be listening to Country Squire Radio on some right now.
Yeah,
and we encourage you to continue to do that.
I've just offended everybody this episode.
We're done.
All over the map.
We're done.
It probably is time. Hey. Before we kind of close out the show, I'm kind of should we kind of mention something we're considering that we were kind of talking about before the show, or you think we should just make a decision on it? All right, yeah,
we just need to wait.
All right, Mike, cut what I just said out completely.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Talk about it later.
Yeah.
The magic of editing. Man, great episode, of course, and we'd love to hear from you in terms of your thoughts on the Fragenbragen, Sargen, Fribourg and Treyer. Treyer.
Yeah. That's it.
F&T. We'd love to hear your thoughts on F&T, and if you get a chance to smoke it, be sure to let us know, and we'll read some of those thoughts on the show. You can also keep up with us throughout the week. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at The Real Beau York.
And I'm at John David Cole, or you can get us at the shop at @_Country Squire.
Of course, the show's handle is at Squire Radio, but all that information and more can be found at countrysquireradio.com, where you can tune in live on Monday nights. That is at 8:30 p.m. Central, 6:30 Pacific, and 9:30 Eastern. Again, all that and more can be found at countrysquireradio.com. See, I don't say .com normally either. See, this is the Meerschaum thing. Yeah.
Meerschaum.
Meerschaum. We're from Mississippi, and that's the thing that
we're supposed to. Yeah, we just naturally butcher everything, and that's part of
Who is it? Who's been saying that? I want to know who it was.
They'll go unnamed.
No. I want to know who it was.
I honestly can't remember because I've heard it from a few people.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm not kidding.
Here or when you go to like Chicago,
like around, it's not a deal breaker though. You
No,
know,
clearly.
it's endearing,
Yeah,
right? It's
no,
one
no,
of those
no.
things that you know, it's like when I say stupid stuff like that dog won't hunt. Like no one
The same thing at
no one knows what that means, but they just kind of roll with it because
Yeah.
it's me, right?
Yeah. Hey, man. Let's go have a night.
See you, brother.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much.
Y'all, thanks for tuning in. It's always good to spend Monday night with you. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that we got started so late and kind of threw off everything tonight. But don't worry, we will start on. I shouldn't make
Don't
that
promise
promise.
that.
That's
We can't
terrible.
promise that.
Yeah,
No, this is you promise low and over exceed your promises.
All right, how about this?
That's what you do.
I promise we'll be back.
Yes.
Probably next week.
Yes.
That's safe.
That's safe enough,
safe.
right? And then when we're on time next week or just 5 minutes late, they'll
just
be like, "Oh, this is
It's
awesome."
like they were 5 minutes late.
Right.
They were only 5 minutes late. This is amazing.
Right.
We'll get back. We'll get back.
Good night, y'all.
Bye, guys.